Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to The Holistic Alternative. I'm Julie Ann Mejia, CEO and founder of Holistic Hemp Solutions, and your host. Today, I want to ask a simple but important question. What does it really take to build a workplace where people can thrive, especially in high-risk and culturally diverse environments? Joining me today is Amanda Eastling, an HR leader with extensive experience in high-risk industries and working with Native American tribal communities. Amanda, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me today.
Thank you.
It's great to have you. How's your day going?
It's going pretty good. I'm happy to be here trying to get through the random weird weather we have up here.
I feel you. I think all of us in the U.S. are feeling the same. So thank you for taking time to be with us. And I would love to share with the audience what you feel comfortable with about your journey getting into the HR background.
Yeah, I have been in the human resource industry for around 8 years now. I found that the job kind of fell in my lap. And I enjoy it. I enjoy creating policies and procedures. I've worked from manufacturing to an animal hospital and then transferred into a tribal industry who was working with cannabis. And so that's where I've kind of been for the last couple of years. And I have now branched off to create my own company where I'm helping everybody with human resources, not just the cannabis industry, but, you know, all over the country.
Well, I commend you for the work that you're doing. It's important work, not only for the tribal community, but in general. Let's talk a little bit about why people need HR.
So that's a great question because it's the most common question. My first response to everybody is, why HR? Well, can you afford a fine? And most people kind of look at me all shocked. And it's, you know, if you don't have your policies, your procedures, or your guidebooks in place, and let's just say you terminate somebody, it could be considered a wrongful termination if you don't follow the steps that you put in place, whether that is a points policy to a call out policy, sexual harassment policies. Those are all types of different policies that you need to have in place to help, you know, manage your staff.
No, those are excellent points. What sort of policies do you typically get asked to help associate and make for companies starting out?
First is a guidebook. Most companies, they need a guidebook because that guidebook is that's your Bible for your company. You have to have, you know, if you whether you're in Minnesota and you have sick and safe, pregnancy leaves, jury duty leaves to social media, all of those kind of things go into that. Whether you have a policy or not, having that guidebook is something that you do need in place. And then you branch off from there. If you have a call out, you know, whether you have 5 employees to 50 employees, you need to have a call out policy in place so they know who to call and how to call when they're calling out. And then that way it could also be documented, because then if you go into a points policy, leaning back onto that call out policy, if they follow that or they don't follow it, then that helps back you up with that as well. Some of the other major policies that you need in place are who to talk to if there's a sexual harassment, or any of those kind of things that happen at work, having that policy in place to who to go to, how to go to them it's just a great policy, not necessarily so much for employees as it is for management and upper staff. They need to be able to know where to go and how to go about doing those steps.
Thank you for explaining that. I know viewers are, there's a lot of business owners that watch the show. So, how can we support small businesses? What capacity, say someone called you and they're starting a new venture and they just want some consulting services. How can you help a small business that's getting up and running?
So what I would do is I would just ask them, how many staff members are you looking at having? What is your thoughts on how you would like to run your business? I have a business who doesn't want any micromanaging whatsoever. So there's no call out policy. There's no points procedure. There's no first step, second steps, termination. Like they want complete hands off with their staff. If you have 10 plus employees, I'm going to highly suggest you have those more in-depth policies in place so you can manage your staff. Your supervisors can help manage your staff. But keep in mind that it's their business. It's not your business. So you're listening to what they want and you're helping put those in place for them. Making sure that they have a legal team to help support them in the background. I know I talk with my legal team every time I have to help create something for a new company to make sure that, one, is this proper for California? Is this proper for Canada? Is this proper for Nevada? Because each state is completely different. And you want to make sure that you're following those guidelines per the state law.
No, that's great. And again, coverage is important, right? It's there when you need it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like insurance. So I think HR is an important, mindset of the business world that often gets overlooked. So can you tell us a little bit about some prevention stories for people watching today in regards to, hey, I didn't know about this or I didn't realize a policy was in place, whether it's an employee or a business owner?
Yeah, I knew absolutely nothing about the cannabis industry when I was taking on the position, let alone I didn't know anything about working with a tribe. And so those were two big steps that I had to learn. I worked with a legal team very closely. I worked with the tribal government very closely to help learn the way things go, not only because of the sovereignty that they had, but also, keeping in mind that there are some things that they had to follow federal laws. So when you're reaching out to these people, you're just, making sure you understand what's going on in that state, what's going on in that area, looking over what policies you want to put in place, making sure that the proper ones are put in place and which ones may not be necessary. Again, if you have 3 employees, you're not necessarily going to need a call out policy because it's 3 employees. At that point, it's just some things aren't necessary.
So how do you differentiate? So say you have 100 plus employees at the larger company, it's continuing to grow. What do you think for the differentials for a small entity just starting out versus a large one? What are the protections that you put in place for a big company versus a smaller one?
I would recommend the same thing for both companies. Whether you have, 10 employees or 100 employees, you still need those policies and guidelines, guidebook in place. You still need a legal team backing you. Whether it's a manufacturing to a cannabis industry, make sure you're following OSHA laws, or tribal laws. If you have an OCM regulation or regulators, make sure you're following everybody's. Again, now, if you only have 5 employees, I wouldn't say like a call out policy is definitely needed, but 100, that's definitely needed. Whether you do a Teams, how do you interact with each other? Is it phone call? Is it Teams? Is it Slack? How are you doing that? I did learn in my previous position, a couple positions ago, that, an employee just kept texting every time they called out, and text messages get deleted or they get spammed. So now you lost that proof. And the employee's like, well, I called out and I texted you. So you text message, I may not have looked at that. So let's also put in place, let's contact your general manager, let's contact your supervisor. If you don't hear anything back, reach out to the next person and like make sure you get some type of verification. But you do need a policy like that in place. Again, when you have 5 people, everybody knows mom, dad, cousins, aunts, uncles. So maybe it's not technically necessary for a small industry, but definitely I would recommend anything over 15, at least having a good, policy in place for that.
No, that's great. I appreciate your answer on that. And I would love to hear a little bit more about your business and what you're starting out and some of the packages that you might offer to people that are looking for some support getting this up and running for their business.
Yeah, so I offer, 3 packages, and then there are some a la cartes, and then there's also like an hourly rate. With my first package, it's, just the basics. Like, let me help you get a guidebook in, let me help you get a few policies in, you get a few hours a week with me. Your second policy or your second tier is going to go up. Again, it's everything that I just said. You're going to get more hours with me. That's going to also help, keep your benefits going. Or if you don't have benefits, I'm going to help you get set up with a company to get your benefits going, help you maintain them, maybe help you hire some staff members. And then your third package is it's the cream of the crop. I'm going to do everything for you. I'm going to do investigations for you. I'm going to, I will do, I believe I have like 20 some hours a month with you. I will help you emails. I will help you hire your staff. I will help you onboard your staff, create the policies, upkeep your policies when new laws come into place, help upkeep your guidebook. And then there's just like hey, Amanda, I'm hiring you at an hourly rate. I need you to help me investigate something. There is that. Or if I've already created 5 policies for you, and that's kind of where we agreed on, you need some new policies created, there's an a la carte for that too. So each tier does have something different, and it also could be tailored to you. So while it's like, maybe you don't need this, but you need this, we can talk about it. We can move things around. I'm pretty easygoing. I don't necessarily have anything set in stone until we sign the contract. But even then, it's one-offs here and there. I'm happy to help anybody. I have learned over the last few years that the HR is definitely overlooked. There are a lot of companies out there who don't necessarily believe they need human resources or understand really what human resources does for them. They think that they're just the big mean person that comes in and fires people and writes people up. I can let you know, I actually don't do that at all. I make the managers do all of that because they are the ones that spend the day with you. I don't. So they know what you're doing. They know the rights from wrong. And the person that they're doing it to knows you better than I know you. So I would like to, personally for me, I keep the human resources a human resource. And I'm the person you come to when you want to learn, you want to grow, you want a roadmap, or you have a personal issue at home that you want to talk about and help figure out. I'm also a lending ear. So I help with that as well.
No, that's wonderful. And those are important services that everybody needs. And you brought up a really excellent point that you're continually like monitoring new laws, regulations, changes. Let's talk a little bit about high risk industries and some of your work with that, because I know that's a forever changing landscape.
Yeah, I mean, we'll take the cannabinoid industry or cannabis industry right now. It is consistently changing, whether it's a federal law or a state law or a new tribal. If you're in the tribal industry, you're definitely changing things around consistently within your tribal industry. And for me, it's constantly, signing up for newsletters, doing webinars, doing seminars, doing conferences, reaching out to your legal department because they know everything that's going on, or your tribal lawyer or your, whatever it is, it's constantly staying up to date. And again, in the cannabis industry, it's consistently changing. Whatever our president has decided to change this week may be completely changed 6 months from now. So making sure you're staying on top of that. And then you need to turn around and train your team. I recommend always changing your guidebook and your policies January 1st and July 1st, because those are the dates that new laws do come into place. And then if it's a big, huge change, you take your team, your management team and your supervisory team, and you train them. this is the new law that came out, guys. Let's talk about it. Let's digest it, and let's ask questions about it, so we can figure out what's going on and how we can teach our staff that this changed.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I know I don't want to divulge too far into your NDA and stuff. I know you can only say certain things about the tribes you've worked with. Do you care to share a little bit about the tribe that you work with in Minnesota and how you were able to support other tribes throughout the nation?
Yeah, the tribe that I worked for was an absolutely amazing tribe. Everybody was great. They were super friendly, loved the legal team. They were like my right hand, constantly texting them, asking them all kinds of different questions. And then through them, I was able to work. They had a contract company, and the contract company was, helping me meet other people to where I was able to do seminars. I worked a lot with the ICIA with Mary Jane Oatman and Rob Pierre. So I was able to do a lunch and learn with Mary Jane, a couple of them. I worked with, met Dale Sky Jones from Oaksterdam, formed a great relationship with her. She had a panel at MJ BizCom, and I just kind of joined in with her on that for a quick minute. But she's been a great help on everything. And so within that, going to these different things, I've been able to meet different tribes and form relationships with them. There's a couple tribes in Minnesota where I have grown to have great relationships. I've even got a relationship with a tribe up in Canada, Nevada, California. So it's been great. The tribal industry it's honestly a great industry to work in.
No, I couldn't agree more, and they need the most support,
Yes.
given everything that they've been through throughout the course of history. It's important. Sovereignty is important for them. So I think that's wonderful that they're getting, an advocate to help with everything. So that's wonderful. It's important work you're doing. So thank you.
Thank you.
So in regards to like normal businesses and other high risk industry, what other industries have you worked with? I know cannabis is one. I mean, have you had any experience like in the biotech industry or any of the other high risk industries like the gaming industry?
Nope, I haven't. Before this position with the tribe, I worked for an animal emergency hospital.
Okay.
So I was the only human resource over 400 people where we had oncology, radiology. I mean, it was a huge hospital building.
Wow.
I did have a COO who helped me with the human resource side. And before that, I was working for a manufacturing company who produced walk-in coolers for like Jersey Mike's and McDonald's and stuff like that. So I wouldn't say super high risk industry outside of the tribal industry.
Great. So what is a good client for you in regards to businesses that you're looking to collaborate with? We know you have some beautiful experience in some capacity, but who's an excellent client that you're really looking to engage with?
I like the easygoing. I mean, I love everybody. I mean, I'm here to help no matter what the end of the day comes out. Sorry, that was kind of tongue twisted there. Tongue twisted. It's Monday. I'm willing to help anybody that needs help. I won't pick and choose which one I like better. But I do enjoy the easygoing, laid back, is willing to make changes. I also love the people who put their foot down. Because those people are even more fun to push and be like, okay, I understand, but now let's look at what has to happen and explain to them and then be like, oh, okay. So I love both sides of the industry.
No, that's great. I think it's a huge industry and it's important, for a number of facets. I think too, a lot of people don't, grasp the concept of, hey, HR also helps with, some of the compliance. The compliance aspect is a huge thing. And again, in our industry with ever-changing laws and regulations, both on a state and federal level, it's, is that something that you have to oversee constantly, like for, cannabis companies that you're working with?
Yeah, it's a daily thing, consistently overseeing it.
So have you encountered any new challenges with the new rescheduling of Schedule 3 for any of the work that you've been doing?
I haven't. For the most part, when it comes to human resources, we don't change a lot. Um, whatever has to happen inside a grow facility or outdoor grow or whatever it is, that's on that. Human resources mostly does the human side of it. So I'm updating policies, procedures, and guidebooks and making sure the staff is showing up on time, or hiring new staff, or making the insurances proper, work comp is proper. But with the rescheduling, it honestly doesn't affect me at all.
Good. No, that's great. I'm glad to hear that. And another question I ask a lot of guests: how did you get into supporting cannabinoid science in the space?
It was just a random fluke. I applied. I said, well, let me try this out. It's something new, something I haven't done. I applied. And again, my first one was the tribal place in Minnesota. And I've learned so much through there. I'm not a partaker myself. However, I do find it quite interesting to learn the ins and the outs and the micrograms and all the different tinctures and oils and creams. And it's just so much that is out there now. So it's been fun to learn a lot about it.
Yeah, it's definitely a whole new world of comparability, right? From, freezing units to cannabinoid science. It's definitely different. Um, where do you see the industry and HR going in the future as far as, for high risk, human resources? Where do you see it going?
I would love to say I see it going far, and more people taking on, whether it's a part-time human resource or an hourly human resource, whatever it is, um, taking that on, because the more you grow, the more things that need to come into place. Again, it's that 5-person staff versus a 20-person staff. There's so many different things. I mean, less than 5, do you need to follow OSHA? Do you need to follow COBRA? Once you get up to 20, once you get up to 50, now there's different things that are coming into place that you need to make sure you're following. And having that human resource person as you grow, it's just a smart idea, unless you have a legal team that's going to make sure that you're helping follow all of those things. So I would just suggest that if you don't have a legal team, you have human resources. And human resources, it should always follow up with a legal person just to make sure that their documentation is correct and they're not saying anything inaccurate. So yeah, I still see it growing.
Awesome. No, I appreciate that. And a lot of people, to your point, they try to hire someone for human resources. They don't want to deal or interact with their staff, whether it's reprimanding them or, hey, this person isn't working out. I need you to, fire them. How do you coach certain managers, certain owners of the companies to, engage more directly and humanistically with their staff?
I basically create the policy that says that this is your job. And it kind of goes back to my previous comment that I don't know that staff member personally. You, as a supervisor, a manager, should know them personally. So me coming in and saying, Snow White, I'm sorry, we got to write you up today, and fumbling with the whys. What day was that? What hour was that? Who was there? I'm not there. I'm not going to be able to answer all those questions. I mean, I should if the manager sends it to me properly, but it comes from the manager or the supervisor. They can answer those questions a lot better than I can, and they have a more personal relationship with that person. So while human resources comes in, everybody gets scared. They don't want to talk to me, and they may freeze up and they may fire up, versus a manager sitting down with Snow White and going, hey, look, this is what happened last week. I do have to write you up. You may be able to de-escalate that situation a lot more with a personable person than somebody who's not there all the time.
Gotcha. So, I came from a nonprofit background. We'd often have to engage with the staff, but, on the back end, the executive team would always ask for a paper trail. And I'm sure you understand what that means. And that, what would you explain to people about, hey, what's the proper documentation to, protecting yourself as an entity?
Yeah, that would be, I learned this actually from one of the lawyers I worked with, is making sure you're keeping a staff log. And it's great, and it helped me out so much. But that staff log can be an Excel spreadsheet, person's name, date, notes, and then their name on the bottom tab. And then you could have 100 tabs open on the bottom to find your employee. And, today's date, let's go to Snow White. Snow White, today's date, called in sick. Tomorrow's date, Snow White left work early. I mean, then that's your trail. But also at the same time, keep a Word document as well. Every time, Snow White called in late, she reached out to Rapunzel, was sick. I mean, then you have a little bit more details. You could also put those details into your spreadsheet. But if you need more room, I recommend that Word document. And then also that way, put it in their personnel file. It's something you can always go back to. It is a paper trail. Depending on what state you're in, I would not do a progressive policy. And that's just my opinion. You work with your own company the way you want to work with your own company or your legal team. Being an at-will state, if you say that you're following a progressive policy, you're going to want to follow that progressive policy. You shouldn't want to skip from, oh gosh, Snow White's done this. She was yelling at a customer yesterday. Okay, well, that's a write-up. But did you do the verbal first? Well, Snow White was yelling at a customer again. So now you jump from, well, I just want to terminate her, but you can't because you have that progressive policy. And if you don't follow that, could be considered a wrongful termination because you didn't follow that. Versus we're an at-will state. I'm just going to write you up. Did it again. I'm just going to terminate you. So make sure you're keeping all of those documents. Again, make sure if you have policies in place that you're following them to the T of what you wrote out.
So someone that isn't aware of what an at-will state is versus what? Can you explain a little further the differential between the two?
Yeah, so an at-will state, and I have to be careful with my words here because I am not a lawyer. First and foremost, I am not a lawyer. An at-will state usually goes along the lines that you can terminate for any reason. Outside of medical reasonings, doctor's notes, those kind of things. If they've got all the proper documentation in place, you really can't terminate them. Always advise talk to a lawyer if you're going to terminate somebody to make sure that you have everything in place to terminate them so it doesn't come back on the company. Now, when it comes to not at-will states, that usually means that there has to be a very good reason. Again, with the progressive policy, you followed all these steps. Again, I want to be careful with my words because I'm not a lawyer. So if you are concerned about most everybody knows if they're an at-will state or a not at-will state, I recommend reaching out to a legal team and have them go more in depth with those explanations.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. And yeah, there's so many questions I'm sure people have, like, unionized companies. Is that a big differential when it comes to your HR work dealing with unions?
It is so different.
Okay.
I've yet to work with a company that has a union. I can have policies in place, but if they don't align with a union, my policies don't mean anything. A union is there for a reason. They have their own human resources. They have their workers. So if I want to write up Snow White because she did this, the union worker can come in and say, nah, it doesn't really go against my policy, so now I can't write her up.
That's crazy. So how do you blend that with a union when you do? And I know you might not have worked particularly with a union company, but I'm sure you understand like the grasp of it. Can you explain a little further?
Yeah, I'm actually in works of talking with somebody about working with them because they do have union. My recommendation is talk to the union rep, ask what their policies are, ask what their procedures are, and try to incorporate those in your human resources ones as much as possible. Now, if I have 50% union workers and the other 50% not union workers, look at that. But if you have more union workers than you have non-union workers, I would definitely recommend taking in a good majority of the union's policies that they have in place, because you want to be same across the board. You don't want to have a bunch of different separate policies out there, especially if you're a bigger industry, because now you got to try to remember, okay, well, is Snow White a union worker? Well, no, but Rapunzel is a union worker. They did the exact same thing, but I have to punish Snow White because it falls under my non-union policy, but Rapunzel gets to get away with it because she's a union worker. So trying to make sure that those policies align as much as possible is the best way to do it.
Thank you. Thank you for explaining all that. And, you know, anyone listening that feels they could use some assistance, some consulting, what's the best contact information for you? How do people get in contact for services?
Yeah, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I believe it's popped up right there. And you can also reach out to me via email, which is just the eastlingservices@gmail.com. I don't have a website up and running at the moment. Those are the two best ways to get a hold of me. But yeah, that's pretty much the best ways right now.
Wonderful. Is there anything else you want to leave people with today? Because I know we threw a lot of information at them and it flew by the 40 minutes.
It really did. I didn't even realize that. I just kind of leave you with a little bit here is that make sure, no matter what your business is, that you hire your human resources first. Way before you hire any of your other staff members, because your human resources, again, is the one who's going to create your path road for you. They're going to create the jobs. They're going to create the job descriptions. They're going to help you create budgets, policies, procedures, guidebooks, SOPs. It's easier to hire human resources before you have a staff than after you have a staff, because say I come in 2 months after you've already been open and you don't have this policy in place. Now I'm coming in and I'm the bad guy because I have to force this. You may lose a lot of workers because of that. So I just recommend hiring your human resources first, at least a couple months minimum before you open your doors.
No, I think that's a great point, and we really appreciate taking time out of your busy schedule to share everything today. It's important work that you're doing. We appreciate you, and we look forward to hearing more about your business and how it develops. And please let us know what we can do to support.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on today. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you guys from all over for tuning in today and taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us. We thank USA Global TV and Radio team and Dr. Jacqueline for all the beautiful support. We love you all. Tune in next month for another beautiful segment where we'll discuss some other interesting topics. Thank you guys. Have a beautiful day and rest of the week. Take care.
Every great story begins with a vision. At USA Global TV and Radio, for years, we've been providing world-class education, entertainment, inspiration, imagination, connections, and hope. Most people don't stay to watch the outro or the credits, but it's the people behind every success, behind every breakthrough, and behind every unforgettable story who matter. The TV show hosts, our guests, our sponsors, our publicists, our production team, our distribution team, our search engine optimization team, and so many more. You're the ones who make the difference. Every great story belongs to the people who bring it to life. Our future looks bright at USA Global TV and Radio, and that's because of you, our loyal fan base all around the world in more than 60 countries. Together, we're making a difference because you matter. USA Global TV and Radio, live streaming to over 60 countries. Voiceover, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Video production and direction, Paul Garcia. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV and Radio on YouTube.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.